Hello, boys and girls and everybody in between. It's been a long time since I have talked to you. I apologize for that. I wanted to talk about universal basic income versus job guarantee, or we could also boil it down to Andrew Yang versus Bernie Sanders. And it is really one of the silliest debates I have heard yet in this. Well, that's not true, but it is a silly debate because we live in a nation where our infrastructure, be it our water supply, our roads, our public transportation, our airports, all of it needs an upgrade. I think our bridges, I think the Engineering Society said that we would have to invest $3 trillion just to bring it up to date. We're not talking about looking into the future saying we want to create the infrastructure, the delivery system from power grid through transportation. And this is what it's going. This is the best. This is what it's going to look like in the future. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about bringing our, Second World War, post-Second World War infrastructure up to date. So that's silly. There is so much work that needs to be done in this country. That has been neglected for so long that we are going to need a massive workforce to step in. That, of course, doesn't mean that we have to not look at universal basic income too. Now, I am for that, but I'm also kind of thinking that what we're really talking about is to provide the human being the safety and security of having housing, food, healthcare, and education taken care of, so that those basic needs are handled and you can then contribute to the world, to your family, to the nation from there. Never having to fear about those basic needs being taken care of. Something that most people that have experienced it either through wealth or other ways can tell you that is one of the most liberating things to the human spirit, is the moment where a human no longer has to worry about taking care of the basics. It literally makes, in many instances, better human beings. Then, of course, there is a point where you have too much security and then you turn into the douchebag. You know who, right? So anyway, so I'm thinking out loud here that, I mean, the $1,000 is all well and good, but it's just simply not enough in the end, because as we know, within the next decade, we are going to automate away, and I think this is on the low side, 40% of the jobs, right? So, I think that we have to have a different conversation about universal basic income, and it's certainly not. So I think Bernie Sanders has been too dismissive of it, and I wish he would embrace it in a different way when he talks about it. But that's kind of where I'm at right now on the Andrew Yang versus Bernie Sanders jobs guarantee versus universal basic income. Last little thing I wanted to talk about, Elizabeth Warren came out with her health care proposal, and I think it is, well, it's flawed, but I also think it's irresponsible. And the reason I think it's irresponsible is because our healthcare, like everything else that is used by the entire nation, should be all of our responsibilities to fund. And she has come out with a deal, or a healthcare plan where the financing of it, I believe, is unrealistic, and she's literally putting it, it looks like only on the billionaires, right? But then there's a transaction tax on stocks that goes into, you know, who pays that through bigger brokerage firms and that kind of stuff. But she is, we have a social contract. I know that the elite has forgotten that social contract, but that doesn't mean that what we create instead should forget that. We want people to be invested in the cost of their health care, right? So absolutely everybody should pay for that. We will still come out ahead. We will still pay less out of pocket and have a stable, consistent access to the healthcare that we need. Anyway, there I went again, thinking out loud. Please hit subscribe, share, send it around, and please take care of yourself and each other. Take care.